Alright, everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy, Trey Fab. Back at it with another one. Okay, so, I say this every single time. I usually keep my intro below 50 seconds. Let's see if I can do it again, guys. If you're new to my channel, I like to talk about drama, TikTok, YouTube, cloud chasers. Love that. That's my bread and butter. I also like to talk about basketball. My bad. I also like to talk about basketball. I love that as well. So if you're into basketball or if you're into drama, go ahead, give me a like, comment, and subscribe. I'm probably the guy for you. I was able to keep that intro under 40 seconds this time, guys. Anyway, let's get this shit started. Today, we're going to be reacting to the low posts. The sad end of the Warriors. I'm curious what he's going to be talking about as far as that goes. Now, some of you who are subscribed to me, I do understand there was a comment made on my channel about me reacting to an Eddie Buckets video about a LeBron v. Jordan debate. I said I was going to do it. I don't want you guys to feel like I'm not. I know we're approaching the end of the week. That's going to be a little Sunday fun day video. I've been busy as shit with homework, work. I actually got to go to work here in like a couple hours. It's the reason I'm reacting to a more short form content video. Even though I might end up yapping for like 30 minutes. But Eddie Bucket's video is like an hour. Even if I put it at 1.25 speed, you guys know I yap. If you are new to my channel, you'll find that out shortly. So I can't react to it even if it is increased speed today, but I will tonight right after I get off of work so that can be uploaded on Sunday for you guys to enjoy. With that being said, let's get back to this video and let's react.
We got to talk about the Golden State Warriors because the worst case scenario that could happen for this franchise is actively happening. Now, I'm pretty sure most people remember beginning part of the season, first 15 games, the Warriors were one of the best teams in the NBA. 12-3 record, didn't have to over-rely on Stephen Curry, Buddy Hield, perfect replacement for Klay Thompson, especially for the amount of money he was getting paid. But more importantly, the identity of this team was going to be defense. Looked like a really solid defensive unit, especially when Kuminga was in the starting five. And if everything wasn't going to pan out offensively, because there was a lot of fake shooting early on in the season, defensively, they were going to be able to hold their own and still win games based off of what they produce on that side of the floor.
The problem I feel with the Warriors is I feel like they did have like front office woes, not which is kind of shocking to say because their front office has been killer. As much as we all as NBA fans, unless you're a Warrior fan or a LeBron hater, as much as us NBA fans may not have liked that Kevin Durant acquisition, you have to admit, at the end of the day, the Warriors picking up Kevin Durant, very smart move from the front office. Any front office would have done it, and they did. And they lost virtually nothing. They lost virtually nothing in return for Kevin Durant. I think the problem is with the front office, they haven't made good moves since. I mean, they made a trade for Chris Paul. That didn't work out well. And then after the Jordan Poole, Draymond Green incident, I understand that Draymond was the backbone of your franchise, and Jordan Poole is not the greatest. But Jordan Poole is younger, and I feel like his ceiling could have been higher under a Warrior leadership. Under Steve Kerr, under Steph Curry, he is an offensive-minded player. I feel like if you would have had Jordan Poole on that team, he probably would have grown to be a great piece for your team. A role player, maybe even a second star. But I think Draymond, as much as he can be loved, can be kind of a, I don't want to say cancer, because that's tough, but it's just rough because he fractured that Kevin Durant relationship with the team. KD even said he was the reason he left. And then he turned around and fractured the team a second time. I feel like one time, mistake. Second time, you got to go. But that's just my feelings on it. Let's continue.
However, here we are now, and since then, the Warriors have been an utter, complete joke. Because since then, they played 29 games, of which they have only won 10 of them. They have a miserable offensive rating of 109.5, a defensive rating nearing 115, and a net rating of minus 5.3, all of which are bottom 10 status within this 29-game sample size. They've been that bad. And to make matters worse, the way that the Warriors are losing games is exactly how they lost it last year. The Warriors come out looking really, really good, have a massive lead, but then end up just losing it by the end of the game. They had a 17-point lead against the Spurs back in November, an 18-point lead against the Nets again back back in November, a 12-point lead against the Nuggets in December, and just a couple of games ago, they went into halftime with a 65-48 lead against the Sacramento Kings, just for them to lose that game to Sacramento 123-117. Basically, the same thing that they were doing last year. So what exactly is going wrong? Well, basically everything. Remember that Buddy Hield shooting stretch in the beginning part of the season that I really questioned if it was real or not? Come to find out, it wasn't. Since the start of the season, Buddy Hield has gotten worse from behind the arc every single month. Back in October, November, he was shooting 50 and 41% from three, but now in December, it dropped all the way down to
30% is absolutely atrocious, especially when you are known as a three-point shooter. That's bad. 25 3-point, 25 3-point made out of 82 3-point attempts. It's just, if I was being honest, I'd probably just write more plays up for Steph. I'm sorry. This is crazy. Those numbers are not good.
30.5%, and so far this month he's shooting around 32% from three. So all that hubbubaloo about Klay Thompson not really panning out. Come to find out, you're just doing nothing more but playing another version of Klay Thompson. To be fair, not the same amount of money that Klay was looking for, but I mean, damn, it's effectively the exact same thing. What also is going wrong? Well, the young players are not panning out either. Remember all offseason how the Warriors decided to not trade any of their young players, in particular B-Pods and Kuminga, because they believe they were the future? Why are you going to leverage something that's going on now to properly prepare yourself for the future? All that stuff, yeah, that's not working out either. B-Pod still isn't aggressive. He barely looks at the rim. He's actually missed some games as well, but even when he is playing, that's not really panning out. Kuminga has shown a lot of flashes and promises, but that's effectively been the story of Kuminga over the past 2 years. But more importantly, because of Kuminga's inability as a shooter, it doesn't really make any sense for him to be in a starting five, so he's still coming off of the bench, and same can be said about B-Pods. So the two young players that practically everyone in the league at least thought about having on their roster, their value has gone down, and essentially at this point, they're just bench players for this team, which is crazy, because then that brings us to the rest of the starting five, and Steve Kerr is just trying to pull a rabbit out of his hat every single time a game starts, because he doesn't know what lineups he's going to go with. The amount of consistent small ball lineups that this team still has to rely on, and no, I don't mean not playing a five, I'm talking about playing three guards on the perimeter pretty consistently, is something that this team just has to do night in and night out. Now you may be wondering, well, what about the Dennis Schroeder trade? They did trade DeAnthony Melton, who basically wasn't giving them anything. Matter of fact, not basically.
Can we talk about how, I want to take a pause real quick, because I want to talk about that Dennis Schroeder acquisition. I'm going to be honest with you. Man fumbled the bag. He absolutely fumbled the bag. If you guys are not aware, Dennis Schroeder used to play for the Lakers. Now, when Dennis Schroeder was on the Lakers, they offered him a contract of $84 million. He said, take my German dick, put it in your mouth, slurp it. I want more. I want more. My German sausage, you want it? You're going to have to pay me more for it. And it's like, look, dog, it's a nice sausage. We're only going to give you 84 mil for that sausage, though. It's like, I want 100 mil for my sausage. It's like, all right, I don't think your sausage is worth that much. Go ahead and go to another team, see if they'll give you a sausage. He's like, I will. They're going to give me fucking 100 mil for my sausage. You have no idea what the hell you talking about. My sausage is magnificent. 84 mil? I don't need that. I am going to get more. Don't worry about that. And then he ended up going to the Boston Celtics, if I'm not mistaken. And one second, I'm looking up his contract. So, remember Dennis Schroeder. He was offered $84 million. All right? He said, nah, man, I'm worth more. I'm worth more. This is generational fumble. I'm going to be honest with you. $5.9 million, okay? That is life-changing money for all of us. I get that. I get that. That is fair. If I got $5.9 million, I'm happy forever. But what I'd probably make videos every single day, and my own videos too as well, because I'd have all the time in the world. I'd just be behind the computer screen all day. But let me tell you something. If I lost out on $84 million, I'd end my life. That would be it. That'd be crazy. Almost 80 mil down the toilet. I only got 5.9. That's rough. That's a rough backdrop. But that's a little off topic there. He just brought up the fact that the Warriors got Dennis Schroeder. And I just literally thought about the fact that he fumbled the fuck out of the bag because he was being greedy. Don't be greedy. Don't be greedy.
Wasn't giving them anything because he was going to be sidelined for the totality of the year. And Dennis Schroeder out in Brooklyn was playing really, really great basketball. What exactly is he doing so far with the Warriors? Well, he ain't really playing that well. Since Dennis Schroeder has been in the team, he has been started into the starting five. And in these 19 games in which he has played, he's averaging 10 points, 4.5 assists, 2 rebounds, and shooting 36% from the field and 28% from behind the arc. He's terrible. He's trash. So now that means the Warriors get to go back to all reliable, overly depending and relying on Stephen Curry. But unfortunately, that ain't really working out the greatest for them either because Steph is 36 years old. The regression is very clear and evident. Even though, yes, for the totality of the season, he's been looking really solid, especially when you take into consideration how many minutes he's playing. He's averaging around 22 to 23 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, and shooting splits of 45, 41, and 94. And even as of late, some of these numbers across the board have been up over the past 10 to 15 games. However, the devil certainly is in the details because these numbers don't really give a clear depiction on the true regression of Steph Curry because A, not only is the inconsistency just crazy. There was a stretch in the season where Curry would go out, give you about 26 points, next night only give you 2. Next night, give you 30.
When Steph Curry gave 2 points, I hate gambling. Let me tell you something about gambling. I hate gambling. I want to absolutely shoot myself when it comes to gambling on shit. Because when he went up against Memphis, I quite literally said, hey, this is Memphis. Easy, easy. I took the over. Because if you guys don't know, Memphis and Golden State dislike each other like crazy. They don't like each other. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to take the money line because I'm not sure. Memphis was playing pretty good. I'm not going to take the money line against them, but I will say that Steph Curry's going to go off because he definitely doesn't like this team. It's going to fucking happen. Motherfucker scored 2 points. 2 points. I had to refresh my fucking shit because I'm like, there's no way. There's no way. 2 fucking points. 2? He scored 2! And you know what ended up happening? They went up against Minnesota, who is a better team, at least in my opinion. Minnesota is a better team than Memphis. They went up against Minnesota the next night, or a couple nights later. I said, you know what? I lost my money. I'm not going to bet. I'm not going to bet my money. There's no point in betting my money. I'm not going to lose. Okay? So fuck that. I'm not going to bet on Steph. You know what I'm going to do? 2 points, I'm going to bet the under. Motherfucker went for 31! How the fuck do you go from 2 to 31? What? You're like my father. One day you're telling me you love me. The next day you're telling me you're going to get some milk. And I don't see your ass again. What the fuck is this flip-floppy shit? But it's alright. It's alright. It is what it is. Let's continue.
31. Night after that, only give you 10. Then right after that, he giving you 38 points. Then right after that, only down to 22. Then 11. Then 30. I mean, it was every single night. It was ridiculous. But again, he's been better over the past couple of games, so you would assume that they would start winning. But no, that's not the case at all. And a huge reason why they start losing these games is because they're overly depending on Curry. The Warriors come out looking strong. Curry knocking down some shots, ball moving around. Then in the second half, the opposing team starts to think to themselves like, oh man, we can just double Curry. We can just blitz him. He's not going to be able to do anything. We just show a lot of body on him, put more athletic defenders, get the ball out of his hand, make sure he doesn't touch the ball when he's moving off ball. Just give all of our attention to Curry, double and triple team him, and then make somebody else beat us. And then the Warriors end up losing almost every single time. That is quite literally how they lost to the Kings. That's how they lost to the Toronto Raptors. That's how they keep blowing these leads, because Curry has to be all of their offense every single night. And it shows up in the on-off numbers, especially over the sample size we're referring to, where they've been just terrible. So again, in the last 29 games, of which 24 Curry has participated in, the Warriors have an offensive rating of 115.7 when he's on the floor, and a net rating of minus 0.5. So basically breaking even when Curry is on the floor. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that, again, in the fourth quarter, in the third, second half, they just start doubling, blitzing him, getting the ball out of his hands. But when Curry is not on the floor within the last 29 games, the Warriors' offensive rating drops all the way to 97. And they have a net rating of minus 11.3. That is ridiculous. Utter ridiculous. And it makes absolutely, positively no sense at all. And honestly, you can say the same thing about Draymond as well. When Draymond is on the floor in these last 29 games, of which he's only been able to play 19, again, this team doesn't look as good. Their offensive rating is only 110. Defensive rating, however, is 112. Net rating of minus 2.1. But when he's off the floor, offensive rating drops to 107. Defensive rating inflates to nearly 115. Net rating of minus 7.3. So this team is just overly depending on Curry and Draymond on really both sides of the floor. And the reason why this is so important is because what I'm starting to see is, again, this narrative and propaganda about players, in particular older players, making demands out of their front offices to be.
Okay. I gotta be honest. We say older players. Steph Curry is definitely an older player. He is 36. I could be mistaken. I'm going to look it up. Isn't Draymond like... Don't let that gray hair fool you. He has more fucking gray hair on him than LeBron James. I know he's younger. Maybe he's not that much younger. Maybe he is late 30s. But I'm pretty sure he's like 32, 34. Okay. Draymond is 34 years old. Draymond is 34 years old. Man is 6 years younger than LeBron James. Out here looking like he's in his fucking 25th season in the NBA. Like... I'm just saying, for someone who stresses out his team like crazy, he sure must be stressing the fuck out of himself, because, god damn, bro. He playing like he's an old-ass vet, and he looks like an old-ass vet. Draymond is playing how early 2010 NBA players were playing when they about to leave the league. I know, that, like, it just, 34, 35, okay, you're about to retire. Like, I'm not trying to make this a LeBron post, by the way. I just bring it up because I'm talking about Draymond and his age. Draymond is, I'm not hating on him. He's regressing like a normal NBA player should. It's just crazy. When we go back to LeBron, 40-year-old, just saying, that is crazy. Because shit like that just doesn't happen. If you're like, well, Steph Curry's 36. Again, another generational talent. And plus, Steph Curry does not have to burden the load of being a defensive mindset as well as an offensive mindset. That's not what he's known for. But again, not a LeBron post. Strictly just brought up Draymond because he looking old. He looking old. He's got them whites in. I got white in my hat. I got a bunch of white specks in my hat. He's got more white in his fucking beard than in my hat. He looking old.
To be fair, Jimmy Butler does get he gets a little outrageous and crazy. I get that. But in essence, over the past like 10 to 15 years, the narrative has always been, hey, you sit down, you shut up, you play your contract, how dare you make demands, leave it up to the front office. Well, this is what it looks like. This is what happens when you have a franchise player who does not push the button, who does not force his team to make any trades, any deals, who does not put the fire on.
Okay, here's the thing. He brought up Jimmy Butler real quick, and my brain just fucking, the synapse in my brain just fucking connected late. Jimmy Butler is the most toxic player to ever step on an NBA court. I'll say it. Period. Point blank. I get it that he's trying to win a championship. He wants his team to do good. That's fine. But the way he goes about it is absolutely wrong. He's under contract. He's 35 years old. You're under contract. 35 years old. If you want to renegotiate your contract or feel like you should get more money, that's fine. But to sit there and cry, he made the statement that I lost my love for basketball and I got to leave this team. Like, bro, you are under contract. You want to try to force a trade? That's fine. Say that you want to be traded. But you ever heard the saying that you catch more bees with honey than vinegar? My guy, Miami Heat, Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra, very good franchise. They probably would not mind trading you and not mind acquiescing. Oh, fuck, I can't speak. But they would have no problem listening to you and being okay with your demand to be traded if you, I don't know, were a fucking dickhead. Isn't he suspended again, if I'm not wrong, Jimmy Butler? Isn't he suspended again? Or am I just a fucking poo-poo doo-doo head and I made that up? Yeah, he's suspended again. He's suspended again. Like, why would another team want to pick you up? I'm just being honest with you. Like, let's put this in real life terms. Let's put this in real life terms, okay? What would you do if you're going to hire an employee and you're like, hey, what did you do at your old job? It's like, oh, you know, I fucked around, barely did anything, sat on my ass. I was an amazing worker, amazing. But But after a couple years, I just felt like I was being neglected, wasn't making enough. The benefits weren't great. So I fucked around towards the end, and I sat around. I came in late. I was told to stay home multiple times because I kept coming in late. I barely tried, and yeah. So can I work for your company? I promise I'm going to try for your company. I promise. I just didn't like that one. It's like, bro, no. How the fuck am I supposed to know that? How am I supposed to trust that you're going to come to my team and actually do good? And it's the same shit here. How are we supposed to trust Jimmy Butler is not going to be toxic when he goes to another team? When every single time he's left the team, it's been in a toxic fucking way. But this is about the Warriors. He just brought up Jimmy Butler real quick to say that you should demand trades and shit like that. I understand that. I'm not against players who want to ask their team to do best by them and to try to get more out of them. I know that Giannis kind of made that threat to the Milwaukee Bucks that if they're not competing for a championship, then he probably won't be there. I get that people may not like that, but at the end of the day, if you're a great player, you want to win. It is what it is. So I'm not against players that want to go out there and say, I would like pieces. I would like you to put pieces around me. If you can't do that, then I might end up leaving. That's one thing. But the way Jimmy goes about it is just like, I'm going to be a fucking dickhead the entire time. I'm not going to make this process easy. At least with other players are like, I'll try to make this process easy. I'll make sure that I play. I'm on the court. I'm giving my all. And, you know, if I'm just not happy with the situation, when my contract comes up, I'm leaving. But Jimmy just 2 years into his contract. He has 2 years left of his contract, and he's being a fucking dickhead. But nonetheless, little mini rant about fucking Jimmy Butler there. Let's continue.
Under the butt of the front office, this is the results. And what makes it even more frustrating is when I not only hear fans, but fans of the Warriors say this as well. Like, they push this narrative like, oh, Curry got to do more, and Curry got to figure out a lineup, and Kuminga needs to be better, and B. Pies, and Gary Payton, and all these. No, they're not a problem. All of the things that you all complain about, especially on Twitter, that's not the problem. That is a symptom of the problem. Because the problem is you have a front office who decided not to do anything. A front office who overcomplicated the situation. A front office that put you in a situation to where you believe you have to depend on a 36-year-old to still lead this team. A front office that didn't give Steve Kerr a second option or a wing to go out there and play alongside with. A front office that decided to trade players that have panned out to be basically nothing. Because let's not forget, and it's very important that we don't, how we got here. Warriors lost in 2019. They lost Kevin Durant. Clay goes down dealing with the injury, so they decide to tank. They trade Kevin Durant over to the Nets, get D'Lo. Then they reshape D'Lo, package him over to Minnesota, get Wiggins in a draft pick. And because they tanked, they had a top pick from the tanking season and another top pick from the Wiggins trade. So they had some options, some choices that need to be made. Do we package these picks together and go after immediate help, or do we draft for the future? They decided to go for the future. So that's option number one that didn't work out. Who did they select? Wiseman, Kuminga, and Moses Moody. Be very mindful that when they selected Wiseman, LaMelo Ball was still available. When they drafted Kuminga, Franz Wagner was still available. When they drafted Moses Moody, Trey Murphy was still available. And those who may think Trey Murphy, that's a stretch low. No, it's not. You can go look up back then. There's literally reports saying that they were already working out Trey Murphy, so they could have had him. So there's a world where they could be running a lineup right now with LaMelo at the point, Steph Curry at the 2, Wiggins at the 3, Franz at the 4, Draymond at the 5, with Trey Murphy coming off the bench. Now, to be fair, it's kind of hard to believe that any team can swing on all 3 of those picks, but they also missed on all 3 of them as well. Yikes. And here we are now, a couple of years later, and we all know that they missed pretty badly because any of those 3, just one, you could have hit on one of them, just one. And this whole situation that you have right now immediately would have changed. But oh, no, it doesn't stop there, because this past offseason, as we know, they need to make some changes. They're trying to figure out what can they do. They need to restructure, because effectively they knew in the offseason they cannot overly depend on a 36-year-old small guard. Got to get a second option. Understandably so. You didn't want to play Klay Thompson. Oh, I get that. I understand that. Personally, I believe, hey, some of these players are owed a legacy contract, but hey, man, maybe that's just old-fashioned. Maybe that's not the best idea, especially in the new CBA. I get it. And you want to sit here and say you ain't got the money for it? Oh, I get it. But then news break that all of a sudden you got money for Paul George? You were going.
Yeah, that's not good. Here's the thing. I have 2 things. This is how I feel about loyalty in the NBA. I fight with NBA fans about this, but I also agree with NBA players as far as getting their money. If you've been loyal to a franchise and even delivered that franchise a championship, I feel like let's take Jokic for example. If Jokic never leaves Denver, and I don't think Jokic is ever gonna leave Denver, and before you guys get in my fucking ass, fucking ripping my seams apart, walking all along my walls, listen, before you guys make it hard for me to walk, listen to what I'm about to say, okay? The reason I feel like Jokic is never gonna leave is not more so loyalty. It's more so I'm not even sure he likes basketball, if I'm being honest with you. What I mean by that is, of course he likes basketball, but I don't think he loves it. I don't think he cares about success. Motherfucker dropped one of the, he got like 36 points, 22 rebounds, triple-double. One of the most crazy stat lines, and shrugs his shoulder like he just fucking dropped 10 points at the Y. It's like, oh, it was a game. It was fun. I don't think he loves basketball. I think he likes it. I don't think he loves it. And the reason why I think he'll never leave Denver is Denver could lose the next 5 years in a row and never make it to the playoffs. And I don't think Jokic leaves. I don't even think Jokic asks for another player to join, because I don't think Jokic cares. I think Jokic got his championship. He got his MVPs. He's done. He's happy. Jokic might end up retiring next year. I would not be fucking shocked. I just don't think he loves basketball. But going back to the loyalty shit, right? If Jokic stays there, though, and never leaves, stays part of Denver, I believe Jokic he has earned a contract, even if his numbers have slipped, from Denver. He got you a championship, even if he hasn't won another one. He got you to the playoffs several times. 3-time MVP, maybe 4-time. We'll see what happens this year. He deserves a championship. I mean, he deserves a contract beholding to the fact that he brought you a championship. So I think when NBA players are loyal, yes, they should be rewarded for that loyalty. I've stayed with you forever. I deserve a contract that's pretty, pretty wealthy on my end. Not that smart on your end, but one of those, thank you contracts. Type of shit Kobe got. But I also believe if a player wants to leave, here's the thing where NBA players don't agree with me. I mean, no NBA player knows me. Maybe one day. But NBA fans disagree with me. I don't agree that you have to stay in a team forever. I don't believe that you have to be loyal. The fact that players like LeBron got killed is ridiculous to me, because LeBron has played out his contract every single time. He's never asked for a trade. He's never demanded a trade. He's always played out his contract, but he's one of those players that got killed for not being loyal. And at the end of the day, if you're an NBA player, if you're not happy where you're at, you absolutely should be allowed to leave. We would not accept that in real life. To use a real life example, imagine you're working at a job and you even sign a contract at this job. You have to work here 3 years. After 3 years, the benefits are ass. People there are ass. It's just not working out. You don't like it. So you end up saying, I'm going to leave and go sign a contract with this company. And that company looks at you and be like, you're so fucking unloyal. It's like, I've never shorted you a day. I've worked hard every day I was here. I've never demanded for you to, I don't think you can trade people in real life. That sounds a little bit like slavery. But anyway, I've never demanded you to trade my contract to another company. I've stayed here. And you're going to say I'm unloyal because at the end of my contract that I signed, I say I want to go sign a contract with someone else? That's what I'm saying. Like, when NBA fans kind of yell, loyalty, 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 it's like, bro, come on. We wouldn't accept this. Now, if someone demands a trade, I understand being a little upset about that. I can kind of argue with that a little bit, but I don't want to sit here and rant forever. But when it comes to loyalty as far as a player playing out their contract, we gotta let that shit go. They played their contract, they left. Like, let them do what they want to do. But I do agree that if you are part of a team and you were the legacy of that team, you deserve a contract. Klay Thompson deserved a contract. And the fact that you were willing to give up money to Paul George to come to your team, but not Klay Thompson, that's kind of sad. And again, that goes to what I said in the beginning of the video, that the front office definitely failed this team. Point blank period. After the Kevin Durant trade, everything just went down.
Want to give money to Paul George? Wow. Wowzers. gets even better, though. Over in Chicago, Chicago's on their knees begging for somebody. Please take Zach LaVine. Please. Reports coming out saying that they'll even give you a draft pick to take him. You know who had an expiring contract, a contract that they could have unloaded and got somebody for immediate help? The Warriors, because he had Chris Paul. But instead of trading Chris Paul expiring over to the Bulls and maybe giving them something to make sure everything kind of mapped out, no, they just decided to just waive him. Let him walk for nothing. Do you know what Zach LaVine is doing this year? Oh, let me go and tell you, because Zach LaVine, oh my goodness, what a treat he is, right? So far this season, Zach LaVine is averaging 24 points, 5 rebounds, 4.5 assists with a steal, shooting splits of 51, 45, 81. Best field goal percentage of his career, best three-point percentage of his career, best true shooting percentage of his career. But oh wait, it gets even better, because recently when he gets, a little bit better in rhythm, gets his legs up under him, because he has been out for quite a while, LaVine has looked even better than that. Since January 1st, Zach is averaging 29 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists with a steal, shooting splits of 54, 46, 81. Sidebar, remember when many of you all told me, Zach LaVine, I know top 25 player low. What are you talking about? Jaylen Brown? Where's Jaylen Brown in the list? Why you got Zach LaVine over Jaylen Brown? He's a finals MVP. Ooh, I know many of you all haven't gone back to that video and try to right your wrongs. Don't worry, I got the screenshots. But no, that right there would have been a perfect second option to put next to Curry. And you effectively could have just gotten him for Chris Paul, because they were begging for somebody to take him. Yikes. But wait, it gets worse. And also be very mindful that Zach LaVine wasn't even the last option to get a second option next to Curry, because you also could have traded B-Pods, the bench player, the guy who's averaging 8-9 points, for Lauri Markkanen. But you decided not to do that as well. But wait, it gets worse. Shout out to Draymond, I love you, my brother.
This front office, you could have got Lauri Markkanen for one of your bench players. That is bananas. What the fuck are you doing? That's crazy.
But that player that you clocked his game out of him, and he was just acting like he didn't know how to play basketball for a whole year last season, Jordan Poole, damn dog, even he having a career year. So far this season, Poole is averaging 22 points per game, career high, 5 assists, career high, 41% from 3, career high, while attempting 9 threes a game, career high. To be fair, this is on the worst team in the NBA, but it's still basketball being played at a very high level, and I know for a fact you would have loved to have that on your roster, but you decided to trade him for Chris Paul, who you then turn around and just waived and got nothing for him. This is the worst case scenario. And what makes it even more frustrating is that still to this day, despite the fact that there's a trade deadline right around the corner, I'm hearing Curry and Draymond push nonsense propaganda about we still got to stay packed, we can't make no trades, I want to make sure I leave the franchise and the organization in a better situation than I found it. Nigga, Curry, stop with the humble bullshit. Curry, when you came into the NBA drafted by the Warriors, that was a franchise that was deprived of practically any history. We believe Warriors, Run TMC, and last time before that, Rick Barry. I mean, my God, that's how far along the distance of success was for that organization. When Joe Lacob and them got involved, they bought that organization for $450 million. Fast forward to where we are right now, endless amount of success. Been to the finals God knows how many times. Broke a regular season record, 2 MVPs, multiple championships, moved into a new arena, and now they're saying that that organization is worth $8 billion. You turn that organization from $450 million to $8 billion. Brother, you've done more than enough. You've done more than enough. You're going to leave that organization in the best shape it has ever been in. But Curry, that's not your responsibility in the first place. I hate the fact that I'm watching one of the greatest players of all time, who still has a lot of game left in him, being wasted away. It's being wasted. There's nothing here. And so now we're in this awkward predicament where Draymond and Curry are saying, hey man, we all agree not to make any desperate trades because we don't come across as desperate and we don't want to put the franchise in a bad situation.
Fuck that. Fuck that. What Kendrick say? Fuck that. No. Not your fucking responsibility. That's the team responsibility. Your responsibility is to go out there and play ball. Their responsibility is to bring you players that can help you do that. Like, at the end of the day, I respect Curry. I respect Draymond's game. Draymond can get on my nerves sometimes when it comes to how he be on the court. But I still respect him. And I respect him on his podcast. He seems more level-headed when he's talking. But at the end of the day, no, fuck that. You're letting your team off the hook because you're letting... When they hear you say that, the team goes, oh, so I can literally bend you over, blow your back out, and you're just going to say that's okay? All right, bet. Let me get the lube. Like, you're not... What are you doing? Like, you're not giving them any reason for them to try to help the team and to make the team a championship team. Why the fuck would they even try? Why? Championships are nice and they help bring in money and they help bring in tickets, but you know what's nicer? Being able to save money on players and try to win a championship with a team that's reminiscent of the Spurs minus Tim Duncan. There's a lot of role players that work together that we can pay minimum contracts to. But the fact is, it's not working. It's not working. It hasn't been working. The fact that they could have gotten Lauri Markkanen for a bench player shows me it's the money. That's it. It's money. And the fact that they were ready to throw Paul George a contract, I highly doubt it would have been a similar contract to Klay Thompson. It probably would have been like a 1-2 year contract. And again, to save money. They care more about saving money than they do winning championships. And if you're a Bulls fan, you know how that shit is like. I'm a Bulls fan myself. And let me tell you something. Our owner quite literally said, at the end of the day, as long as we can get people in seats, that's all that matters. I'm okay going to the play-in, year out. Like, our owner doesn't give a fuck. They just care about going to the play-in as long as they can get people to fill the seats. That's it. That's it. And he was caught saying that. Now, imagine you and your organization. I don't think they said anything crazy like my owner did, but at the end of the day, they're showing it. Their actions are showing it. They probably feel the same fucking way. Hey, we got Steph Curry. He's going to bring in the market. We got Draymond Green. He's going to bring in the market because of his ridiculous antics. And at the end of the day, we can turn around and make a profit as long as the Warriors can get into the play. And if they can't, a lot of people are going to want to see Steph Curry play, so we'll make money. And if he retires or when he retires, we'll try our hardest to try to be a play-in team so we can make sure we get some money in the seats. Like, it's just... The play-in, a lot of people say the play-in was made for LeBron. I feel like the play-in was made for owners. The play-in was made for owners because now I'm able to save money on contracts. I'm able to turn around and say, hey, guys, we made it to the play-in. Maybe we make it to the playoffs. They lose the fucking play-in round and go, well, we tried, and we made money all year from you guys. It's fucking ridiculous.
Even though the front office has now put us in this bad situation, but then also people don't want to then talk about the elephant in the room, and that is, well, if you still want to compete, but you don't want to make any trades, I guess that means you need to be demanding one then. Curry and Draymond, y'all need to be demanding trades then. If the Warriors are a 500 ball club, you don't think they need to make any trades, but you still want to compete, well, nigga, what are you saying? It sounds like you're saying you need to be traded. That's what it sounds like. And for the people out there who criticize this ideology, I challenge you to answer this question. Is there ever going to be a point in time, because this whole future nonsense makes no sense to me, especially from a franchise that did not have any history of consistent success before Curry. Let me ask you this question. What is the likelihood that the Warriors would ever be able to piece together a roster that would have been as competent and as talented as a one that they could have built during the offseason with Curry, with Zach LaVine, with Andrew Wiggins, with Draymond? What is the likelihood that they'll ever be able to piece together a roster like that ever again? And I'm not talking peak Curry and peak Draymond. I'm talking about this version of Curry, this version of Draymond, this version of Wiggins, and this version of Zach LaVine. What is the odds that they would ever be able to piece together a roster like that? You worried about the future, but what's happening right now is better than what's more than likely was going to happen in the future anyway. But I mean, at this point, we got new general management anyway. It's not even the same GMs. It's not even the same decision makers. It's a new regime. Why are you trusting the new regime to do something for you that the old regime did? That makes no sense. So I don't know what y'all going to do because this isn't fixable. The defense is still solid. I think the ceiling is fine, especially when Draymond is playing and Kuminga is also available as well. I'm not really concerned about that. But it's very, very clear. Offensively, this team ain't where it needs to be. Even if they bounce back, we're getting to the point in the season where you ain't got enough games left. You got the rest of January, February, March, and basically 3/4 of April to figure it out in a Western Conference that's so competitive that you probably have to win around 47 to 50 games just to be the 8th seed. And even if you end up getting the 8th seed in a play-in tournament, surprise, surprise, you got OKC in the first round. You're going nowhere fast. And it's a shame because this did not have to occur. And until next time, I'll see you all later. Peace.
Okay. That was a good video. Yeah, like I said, I ended up yapping for fucking 30 minutes. Yeah, okay. Like I said, at the end of the day, I feel the Lakers... Little Freudian slip there. Little Freudian slip. They're fucking sitting here thinking about bad ownership, bad GM moves. Said the fucking Lakers. I think the Warriors, when it comes to the moves that were made so far, it's just absolutely atrocious. I don't think Steph Curry's going to demand a trade. I don't think Draymond's going to demand a trade. I think they like being in the Bay. They like being in the Bay Area. Their whole livelihood is there. Businesses are there. Everything is set up there. I don't think they're going to move family, all that shit. I don't think they're going to move because I think it's more than the money for them. And I think it's more than the championships for them. I think they want to win a championship, but they would have to bring in somebody to win a championship. But they're not going to demand a trade, so it's just going to be a constant, like I said, bend over, let me get some lube. That's all that's going to happen to you, because you're letting me do it. So, it is what it is, and it's kind of sad. End of the day, like I told you guys at the beginning of the video, I will be reacting to that Eddie Buckets video, Jordan LeBron debate. But like I said, it took me like 40 minutes to get through this one, and this video is only like 16 minutes. So the other one is an hour long, so I'm gonna need time to sit down and react to that one. I'm gonna do that after work. I'm gonna go to work here, but I'm gonna go ahead and upload this shit for y'all to look at and vibe to, and then tomorrow, like I said, I'll have that debate up, and we'll see what you guys think about my reaction. You guys have a good one though. I appreciate you guys coming in and liking my content, subscribing to my content. I know that I can talk my head off. I know I can be annoying at times, but you guys like me. 57 subscribers, dog. 57 subscribers. And I know that's not a lot, but last week, around this time, I was talking about how I'm not even at 40 yet, and now I'm sitting at 57. So it feels really good to just see you guys liking my shit, subscribing to my shit, and trying to give the homie a chance, because that's all I'm going to try to do. I get more subscribers. If I'm able to get monetized, I promise you, I will start making more basketball content that's just react content as well. If I'm able to actually get money from videos, you're going to see me go play ball, especially when it gets warm outside. As you can see, hat on, sweater, it's not warm. But especially when the summer comes around, I'll make sure I make some basketball content so you guys can see. I'll make sure that I go live and play basketball with the homies on Pickup Blacktop, so you guys can see my fucking... I got moves, y'all. I got moves, y'all. Hopefully I lose some weight so I'm not looking like Jokic out there, but we'll see. But peace out, y'all. Have a good one. Enjoy your day. Deuces.